I've shared in various of our videos, and particularly one of the last videos I posted, about the difficulties or struggles I've faced as a result of sharing this journey that I've been on of using metabolic therapies to heal my schizoaffective disorder publicly on our YouTube channel over the last year. And I don't really want to keep dwelling on this, but I do want to acknowledge that this actually became a really big and unanticipated challenge and contributed to a process that I got a little bit lost in for quite a while of self-reflection and societal reflection. Ultimately, I think trying to reconnect with empathy and how I view the world or want to be in the world as well. Understand it. There were a lot of different factors, both professionally in the context of this YouTube channel and in my own personal life as well, that I think really made me start to question myself or question my overarching beliefs about myself and other people and relationships and all this stuff. And yeah, to sum it up, I think I really got lost in the concept of processing all of this stuff for quite some time. There's been a ton of change in my life over this last year as a result of the experience I've gone through of healing my schizoaffective disorder. And not only has my experience of my direct life kind of been in flux, but also I've talked about how my capacity has been increasing. And subsequently, I think I've been, throwing myself into this process of reflection and engaging with my own thoughts maybe a little bit more. And sometimes that's been a good thing, but sometimes maybe less so in the case of really losing myself. But I think part of that also had to do with kind of needing to get to know myself again a little bit and reconnecting with how I want to view the world and myself within it. And I think ultimately for me, that really came down to reconnecting with empathy. I won't get too much into it, but there were a lot of things over this last year that I think pulled me away from that a little bit. And I really struggled with that. That made me deeply sad and kind of unsure of a lot of my main and core beliefs about life and people. So I think I'm coming to understand this thing that I got lost within as a bit of a breakdown. But something that's been interesting as a part of that is that it's very different from difficulties I've experienced in terms of this in the past, which were much more focused on struggling with symptoms of my mental illness and getting lost in that, or having breakdowns, if you will, as a result of that. But this felt a lot more like a, for lack of a better word, normal person experience that probably a lot of people go through, and maybe more of a run-of-the-mill existential crisis. I touched briefly also in one of our last videos about the process of kind of dismantling for myself, questioning or trying to deconstruct a little bit some internalizations I've come to have myself moving through the mental health care system, and bringing more awareness to oppressive or aspects of mental health care or the system that maybe don't necessarily serve me or others in the best ways. And I think moving through the process of coming to terms with being okay with and accepting that it is okay to question those sorts of things and to come at it really with a collective perspective of just wanting to improve it. And part of improvement and growth does include taking a critical perspective on these things as well. So without bringing you all fully down into the depths of everything I got lost within around this inner and outer reflection, I just wanted to let you know that I needed to take a bit of space to kind of work through that on a personal level. I appreciate your patience with me kind of taking a step back from sharing the more personal elements of my life over the last few months and not maybe putting out as much content. I do want to share, though, that I really have felt in the last couple of weeks a sense of reconnection. And I feel like I am finding myself again. But I just wanted to share a bit about what's been going on in my personal life over the last few months, as well as to share some really exciting new developments that are going on currently in the field of metabolic psychiatry. I've been trying to spend a lot of good quality time with my family, and that has been a really helpful piece in terms of reconnecting with myself again. Feels like we're always keeping busy, shuttling kids around with extracurriculars, soccer games, soccer practices, swimming lessons, and that all has kept us quite busy. Something that I have been dealing with, which maybe exacerbated the difficulties I was experiencing with my little existential crises, were around having a little bit more difficulties with my hormonal cycle. I have PCOS, I've shared before, polycystic ovary syndrome, and as a result of switching to keto, my menstrual cycle has actually been regulating. However, I'm finding that I am having quite a large amount of difficulties with my mood, or just really not feeling great, and pretty exacerbated symptoms of PMS around my menstruation. And so this is something I've kind of been talking with Nicole a little bit about and trying to figure out ways to manage this or navigate it in a way that feels better. Part of this is making sure that I am keeping up with my supplements, and I've also been in touch with my psychiatrist over this. I've been doing a lot of running and trying to just stay as active as possible. Rob and I have been playing a lot of soccer, trying to get back into swimming, going to the gym regularly, and just trying to stay on top of that as a big component of my well-being routine as well. It was pretty fun. Rob and I got to go to an Our Lady Peace concert where I got to relive my junior high days. And that was really
cool. Our Lady Peace, 30-year. I grew up listening to them. That was like who I listened to the most in like junior high. I think I get a lot of flack for using this term, but I feel like that was healing to young Lauren. That was a healing experience. I love that so much. I feel like I can connect deeper with like that. You know, honestly, off meds, I feel like I can take that in more deeply. It was thoroughly enjoyable.
And then a few weeks ago, we were really fortunate to be able to take our family on vacation for a week to Cancun, Mexico. It was our first big trip as a family of 5, and it was really wonderful getting to share that experience with my kids. There were definitely some stressors as a part of this trip, but ultimately I think that the break and kind of getting away and also being able to just spend really intentional time with my family was kind of a big part of the feeling I described at the beginning of this video of feeling reconnected again with myself and coming back to a place of leaning into empathy as a pillar of my life and shifting my perspective a little bit about these things that I kind of got lost in for a while and refocusing on how I want to show up in the world and how I want to view the world. And now that said, I think while we were there or on the way home, we picked up a brutal strain of hand, foot, mouth, and our entire family got kind of obliterated for the following week after. But that's okay. It was more time altogether, quarantined in our house for an additional week, and we built resilience. Another really big thing that happened over the last few months that I haven't really talked about on the channel yet is that we transferred ownership of our online schizophrenia peer support community that we had run for about 5 years. This was another really difficult experience for me and one that made me really sad, and I think it took a lot of time to work through and process this as well. Some of the animosity or difficult feelings that I've talked about experiencing in the comment section of our YouTube channels was also showing up quite prominently within our peer support community. And I still felt really connected to it and did not really want to leave or give up the community. But it did become clear that we were no longer, when I say we, me and Rob, we were no longer really the chosen leaders of this community or even necessarily welcome by some members anymore. And I get this. I do. I understand why it feels difficult to have such a divide between your own experience and what someone else is sharing, especially if they're leading this community and there is no longer that feeling of connection or relatability. I get that. And I get the much more deeper feelings around this too. I feel really sad that there doesn't seem to currently be a lot of space within the mental health community to accept and celebrate people at different stages in navigating their illness or challenge. I think this whole experience with our schizophrenia peer support community left me feeling quite rejected by a community that I had worked really hard to build and I still really identify with. There's been a lot of more getting lost and reflecting around this, but yeah, just a lot of reflection around this experience and this as a kind of bigger concept within this conversation of hopefully working toward improving mental health care. Going forward, I'm really excited to lean in harder to building and fostering community within our new community that is more focused on using metabolic therapies in the treatment of mental disorders. And absolutely everyone is welcome within this community. And hopefully we will get to a point where there can be more integration with communities like the one we used to run as well. That still exists and you can still join that too. Maybe I'll link to where you can join that under the new ownership. I will also, of course, link to our current community focused on metabolic therapies. I'm really excited to get more focused again on creating content that focuses on increasing accessibility to the various types of metabolic therapies that have drastically improved my own life, and hoping to bring that to more people too. And I'm excited to bring you along with me on this process of a kind of dismantling of internalizations and oppressive perspectives that I, and I'm sure many others as well, have come to hold as a result of moving through the mental health care system as it has been and as it currently is. And I think that this is a really, really big and important piece of this puzzle. Speaking from personal experience here, it is difficult and at times painful, but I think it's important to engage in this together if we want improvements to be made and to reclaim a sense of empowerment as a community. There's also been an interesting amount of efforts to delegitimize me as an influencer, trying to sell you things or selling out to keto companies, etc. And so I just want to take a minute to also clarify that I am not trying to sell you anything, and the experiences that I have shared and this process that I have shared with you on this channel over the last year and a bit has not been performative in the slightest. It has been a lot of hard work to improve my own circumstances and symptoms of my illness, albeit I have had a lot of privilege and I want to work on, again, increasing accessibility. But the reason that I have been sharing all of this and continue to share all of this is because I strongly believe that it has the potential to change the lives of others as well. My brief hiatus has also made me drop the ball a little bit on sharing developments within the metabolic psychiatry research community. There have been some really, really exciting things happening that I just want to quickly share with you and point you in the direction of where you can learn more about them. So on February 25th, results were published from a study out of the University of Edinburgh that was a pilot study looking at the effectiveness of the ketogenic diet in treating bipolar disorder. It was led by Dr. Ian Campbell, who we've had the pleasure of speaking with on this channel. Check out that interview with him. But the findings of the study suggest that a ketogenic diet may be clinically useful in bipolar disorder for both mental health and metabolic outcomes, and it suggests that replication and randomized controlled trials are now warranted. So this was a really exciting further step in the direction of legitimizing ketogenic therapy as an effective medical intervention for mental illness. You can learn more directly from Dr. Ian Campbell in an interview that he did with Dr. Brett Scher on the Metabolic Mind YouTube channel. I will link to that video in the description below. Another really exciting development is that the Journal of Biological Psychiatry, which is a prominent academic psychiatry journal, just released a special issue that was focused solely on highlighting metabolic psychiatry. So I will link to that as well. And then the last really exciting development that I wanted to share with you guys is a new trial on ketogenic diet for bipolar that is going to be happening at the Mayo Clinic. I think that there's been a lot of skepticism or concerns around feeling like metabolic psychiatry is maybe more of a fringe or alternative therapy, but now there is starting to be adoption or at least exploration within these big, established and respected bodies within the medical system, such as the Mayo Clinic. And so I'm really, really excited about this. And again, Metabolic Mind did a wonderful video covering this more, which you can check out as well. I will link to that in the description below too. So hopefully this didn't end up being too long of an update video, but I did want to share with you more about some of the challenges I've been facing, and that it has been a really difficult experience and thing to process for myself. It's been tremendously difficult to work through, but I am really grateful for it because I have gotten to a place now where I do feel much more connected to myself, grounded within the empathy that I want to bring to my life. Yeah, just a sense of refocus on why I'm doing all of this and how important it feels to me, and really just trying to help improve the mental health care system and to help people navigating similar challenges improve their own quality of life. I think it's going to continue to be a little bit of a bumpy road, but I feel better equipped to navigate that. And yeah, thank you for coming along with me on that. I decided to somewhat commemorate this journey of self-exploration with some new tattoos. I won't talk specifically about that because that was for me, but maybe you will see them in some future videos. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, wishing you and your loved ones good health. Excited to reconnect in future videos. Bye.